ओम साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ओम साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ओम साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। राम 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 परमसुमंगल राम 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 परमसुमंगल राम 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 जननी जानकी जीवन राम जननी जानकी जीवन राम जय जय रामा साई रामा जयतु रामा जय जय राम साई रामा जयतु रामा परम सुमंगल राम 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 जय परम सुमंगल राम 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 परम सुमंगल राम राम राम।
Sai Ram. Now we'll start today's topics, Sundarakanda. Today we'll have a part 1 of Sundarakanda, and maybe we'll have to continue next week also, the remaining portions of Sundarakanda. Now, let us have some dance shlokas. Om Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivaranam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Jayat Sarveknopashantaye. Om Adi Kujantam Rama Rameti Madaram Madaraksharam Adi Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Anjananandanam Veeram Janaki Shokanashanam Kapi Shamakshantaram Vande Lanka Bhayankaram Manojavam Martatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Bhatatmajam Mandarayutam Mukyam Shri Ramadutam Shirisa Namami Ullenga Sindho Salilam Salilaha Ishokavaktim Janakatma Jaya Adayateni Vidayilanka Pranjaranjaneyam Viranjaneyam Anjaneyamajapatalanam Kanchanadra Kampyagraham Parijataramulavasanam Bhavayami Pavamanandanam Yatra Yatra Gunatakirtanam Tatta Tatta Kudamasta Kanjalim Bashpavari Paripurnalochanam Marutim Namatarakshasantakam Om Sri Raghavam Rasatatmajam Premeyam Sitapatim Raghukulanu Eratnadipam Ajanabaham Aravindadaya Taksham Sri Ramam Nishachara Vinashakaram Namami Vaidehi Samitam Suradramatale Haime Mahamantape Madhya Pushpakamansane Manimaye Virasane Sustitam Agre Vacheti Prabhanjan Sute Tattvam Manibhya Param Vyakyantam Bharatadibhip Parutam Ramam Bhaje Shamalam. With this dance shlokas, we will start the topic Sundarakanda. And among the various 7 kandas of the Ramayana, various kandas are called Balakanda, Ayodhya Kanda, Aranyakanda, Yuddhakanda, like that. But what is the Sundarakanda? Who is this Sundara? who is Sundara in Ramayana? Because people have heard various names in Ramayana, but there is no mention of any particular person by the name Rama, by the name Sundara. Who is this Sundara? And about what is Sundara and who is Sundara? Vede Ramayani Chaiva Purane Bharata Tata Adavante Cha Madhye Cha Harihi Sarvatra Giyate. Who is this Rama? And who is this Sundara? See, Ramayana itself is Sundara, and the hero of Ramayana, the Avatar Purusha, Maryada Purushottama, Sri Ramachandra, is Sundara, Sundara, Sundara. But what is Sundara? And many of our Sai Bhajans also we know, Sundara, Ati Sundara, Ati Sundara. The most beautiful, the magnificent personality is only the God Ramachandra, God Sai Ramachandra. And therefore, he is called Sundara, Sundara, Ati Sundara. And anything about him, and when about the God, a devotee praises him, and the devotee does lot of his service using the name of Rama, then that whatever that act and whatever that particular chapter deals with, the activities of a devotee, Sri Hanuman, that becomes a Sundara Kanda. Therefore, here, Sundara means, who is Sundara means? Anjaneya Hanuman is also Sundara. Sundare Sundaro Rama. Sundare Sundara Kapi. Sundare Sundari Sita. Sundare Kimna Sundaram. Oh, Sundara Kanda, Valmiki says, entire thing is Sundaram, Sundaram, Sundaram. And whatever you speak in Sundara Kanda is Sundaram. The people who hear it in Sundaram. People who see it are Sundaram. People who participate in that are Sundaram. It is the embodiment of Sundaram. And Sundaram Chattat Kandam Sundara Kandaha. And here, who is Sundara? Sundaraka Kapimukya Sat Kame Chamani Suryayoho. And Anjaneya is also called Dvibuja Sundaraka Shuraha. And Sundare Sundaras Tuyoyam Janananda Utsavaha. Is the Baya Rupa is Sundara, is Antar Rupa is Sundara, his act is Sundara, everything that is Sundara. And about Sundara Murti Mukhya Prana Manega Banda is Purandasa, one of the song, he extols this saying, Sundara Murti Mukhya Prana Manega Banda. And also, Sri Tulsidas also extols this in the Hanuman Chalisa. He says, with the name of Hanuman, कि दुर्गम का जगत के जेत सुगम अनघरा तुम्हारे तेते सब सुकल है तुम्हारी शरण तुम सुकल तुम लब्ध हो सुख हो प्राप्त रहा ओम श्री सब लुक है शुभ सुकल है शरण whoever goes to surrender of Sri Anjaneya, he achieves everything. And Durgama ka jagate ke jete is Durgama. Whatever is impossible, that is made possible by knowing the or uttering the name of Sri Hanuman. Therefore, with Hanuman's name, Sankata se Hanuman Chudave, Manakrama Vachana Danjo Lavai, Sabapara Rama Tapasvi Raja, Tinke Kaja Sakaltum Saja, they're all coming in the Hanuman Chalisa, and also Hanuman Chalisa say, Sabusukala hai, Tumari Sharana, Tumarakshako Kalko Dharana. Oh, when there is a protection of Sri Hanuman, whom to fear, what to fear, where to fear, why to fear. So Swami says, when I am here, why fear when I am here? So same thing when Swami Ramachandra, Sai Rama says, the same thing he means of Hanuman. And when Hanuman is there, Sri Rama is there, there is no fear. All the fear vanishes, all the troubles vanishes, and you see all the troubles vanished with the name of Hanuman and with the name of Sri Ramachandra. And with this introduction of Sri Sundarakanda, let us go a little further. And last time when we were introducing the role of Hanuman in the Ramayana and the significance of Ramayana, we just rushed through some of the points, and Sri Hanuman, with the abundant grace of Sri Ramachandra, crosses the ocean. Sita in the Ashokavana in Sri Lanka. And he has been told about this by Sampati, the brother of Jatayu, who was even a friend of Dasharatha, the father of Sri Ramachandra. And with this knowledge of that, Sri Hanuman crosses. When he crosses the ocean, was it easy? It is a 100 yojana Sarovara or 100 yojan sea. And Swami says, crossing the ocean means, what did Hanuman cross? Hanuman not only crossed this 100 yojana long, this sea only, but he crossed what they call samsara. See, samsara is a bigger sagara, and we are all living in this samsara. And once that we are able to cross this ocean of samsara with the Rama name, because Hanuman achieved it by only going on repeating the name of Rama, Rama, Rama. And on the way, he met certain obstacles. And the obstacle was starting from Mahendragiri, he went over the Mainaka Parvata, which wanted him to rest. And he said, when I am doing my Swami's work, I will not rest. This lesson for all of us is, when you are doing a precious, sacred job, you should not take rest in between until the job is done. Until the job is done, no rest until the work is completed. This is a lesson. And then he does not take rest on the Mainaka Parvata. Then he overcomes Surasa. The Surasa is again a kind of a Gandharvi, and who was having some kind of curse. And she said that if you can pass through me, I will not allow you to go. And he assumes a small Sukshma Rupa. Through Sukshma Rupa, he pierces through her and then comes out and moves. And then he meets Simika. Simika is a very large and gigantic personality. And then he becomes a Vishwarupa there. And whenever he want to become Sukshma Rupa, he could become Sukshma Rupa. Whenever he had to attain the bigger, the Virata Rupa, he could become Virata Rupa. And that is what's called Siddhi. Because Hanuman has what they call Ashta Siddhis. And he was, that's why keeping this Ashta Siddhis, and also was called Namavakarana Pandita. And Namavakarana is, he knew everything about what to speak, how to speak. And with this Siddhis, he landed into Sri Lanka, and when he was about to cross into Lanka, the Lankini, who was guarding the fort of Sri Lanka, who had also the powers, was powers with her by the grace of Brahma. And about Brahma told her the day that you are conquered, then Lanka will fall. And there is culmination of Lanka. And therefore, the Lankini was killed. And then he moves into Lanka, searches several places in the various palaces of Ravana. And he first goes and sees Mandodari. In Mandodari's palace, he mistakes Mandodari for a minute, because Mandodari was a very beautiful person. And since Anjaneya had not seen Sita physically, he first even assumes whether by chance Mandodari was Sita. But Mandodari was sleeping quite peacefully. Now he thinks Sita could not be that, because Sita, who has been separated from Sri Ramachandra, how can a wife separated from such a good husband can sleep peacefully? No, she could not be that. And he searches different people, different palaces, and then he also lands in Vibhishana's place. And Vibhishana's palace is the only place where Ramanama will be heard. And he thinks, oh, in Lanka also, there's such a devotee like Vibhishana, and Ramanama was heard, and he was very happy that Ramanama is reminded to him, even in a foreign place, even in an enemy's place. And then he goes on searching everywhere. First he feels disappointed that he could not see her anywhere. And then all of a sudden he says that one place I have not so far searched. And then he goes to that Ashokavana. The Ashokavana was one of the favorite gardens developed by Ravana. And therefore he enters into Ashokavana. And there he sees one tree, Shimshupa Ruksha. And below that he sees one lady who is feeling very jaded and who is feeling sorrowful and who is also making meditation, and she is closing her eyes and she is surrounded by various demonesses, but they are all going to threaten her that they will kill her and all that. And by the time when Hanuman thinks he could be Sita, but he was not sure, he assumes a very small form of a monkey and goes on the top of the tree and waits, because it is the custom. And it is also to be known, just because Sita had not seen Hanuman, Hanuman has not seen Sita. And the two unknown people, how they meet each other, how they converse. For that, Hanuman says, I will wait for some time. And then when nobody is there, I will talk a conversation with her. And then Hanuman waits on the tree, and then by that time, Ravana comes with his troop and again comes and threatens Sita, and unless she becomes his wife, then she will not be allowed, and she will be killed also. And he gives her 2 months' time, and he goes away. And then there was a Trijata, who was the daughter of Vibhishana, who was a good person. She consoles Sita, and Sita even attempts to commit suicide. And, but at the same time, she thinks, no, ending the life is not the proper thing. Let my Lord come and seek for me. And by that time, what happens is that the Ashoka Ruksha and the Shimshupa Ruksha distance, Hanuman is waiting for Sita Mata to console her. Then, after Trijata's the Swapna Ruttanta, she says that she had a good dream that day. In the dream, she had seen Rama coming and conquering Ravana and then taking back Sita. And when this dream is told to Sita, Sita gets some assurance to live. And then after this,
15.3 and
he
11
finds a time when nobody was there, even Trijata was also not there. He finds a time and he starts talking in Sanskrit, the language which Sita also knew, and telling the stories of Rama. He starts from the name of Dasharatha, because Sita could identify that, then speaks about Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, then about Janaka, then the Mithila, the Sita, Swayamvara, all these things until the time when Ravana abducts her. And then what happened afterwards, that is meeting the Sugriva, friendship with Sugriva, and all the things Hanuman relates to Sita in pure, good Sanskrit shloka in a soft voice. Because that is what important, communication. The Hanumanta is an ambassador of the communication system also. How to communicate is an art. And he communicates in a tender, soft language. Because when somebody is perturbed, you tell them little hard tone and instructing tone, it won't go to their mind. Therefore, he sets a soft, comforting tone about Rama. Sita all of a sudden raises her head and sees from where this voice is heard. And somebody is talking about Rama. But again, she is afraid. In this foreign place, in the enemy's place of Ravana, how can somebody come and talk about Rama? She again surprised. She again thinks it could be her dream. But for her to dream, she has not slept. How can she get a dream? And again, she looks up. And then Hanuman is seen, small monkey. And then he comes down and he talks to her and tells that he is the messenger of Sri Ramachandra and tells everything about what Sri Rama had done. And also as a proof that of he is ambassador of Rama, he gives the ring, the Angulika of Sri Ramachandra, which was sent by Ramachandra to give to Sita with Hanumanta. Hanumanta carried it very safely and he gives it with all the respect and gives to Sita Mata. And when Sita sees that, and she can recognize it is Rama's Ungara, Rama's Angulika, and then she takes it and worships it. And then she says, no, I am happy and convinced. And then she tells Hanuman, go immediately and tell Ramchandra to come and take me back. Although Hanumanta says, I am powerful enough, I can take you back to where Rama is. She says, no, it will not befit my husband. For my husband is a warrior, my husband is a Kshatriya, he is a king. He should come and take me back. And then Hanumanta says, okay, Mataji, I will go and I will convey this message to Sri Ramachandra as well as possible. Before that, he says, I want to show some might and tell something about Rama's powers and prowesses to Ravana. And therefore, he extends from there and goes and spoils and the Ashokavana, the entire Ravana's Ashokavana, and also some of the pillars in the palace. And he gives a signal and a warning to Ravana's people. And Ravana sends his Prastha, minister's son, and then also sends Akshakumara, and also later Indrajit himself comes, and Hanuman is able to conquer every one of them. And only with the Brahmastra of Indrajit, he gets into the net, and then he, in order to go and see Ravana, and gives him advice to him, or even a little warning, because whenever a foreign country is trying to invade you, you don't invade immediately. That's also one of the embassies type of thing, that you want to act as an ambassador of Ramachandra, giving a warning to Rama, giving warning to Ravana, and then telling Ravana that what is the powers and prowesses of Sri Ramachandra. And in order to do that, he enters the Ravana's palace, and then he is bound by the Brahmastra, but he comes out of the shackles, and then he makes his tail as his own crown and sits on the top of that and addresses Ravana and talks to him and also gives him advice and tells that you are a wicked person, you have stolen the wife of another virtuous person, Ramachandra, and then immediately surrender her to Sri Ramachandra. Otherwise, your peril is there and your entire kingdom is in danger. He does not listen to it. Then he orders punishment to Hanuman. He asks people to set fire to his tail. And although Vibhishana comes and consoles Ravana that it should not be done and you should be first killed, he says, but instead of killing, they set fire to his tail. But what does Hanuman does? Utilizing it as a benefit, he goes and with that fire of the tail, he entirely puts the entire Lanka into fire. And then the entire Lanka goes into flame. And then Ravana could understand, at least you are a messenger of Rama. Hanuman could do this. And one Rama himself, what he cannot do. So to that extent, he becomes afraid. A fear is instilled in him, and a warning is given to him. And then Hanuman goes and quenches his fire of the tail in the sea, goes back to Ashokavana, thinking that, fearing that by chance it has burnt Ashokavana also and affected Sita Mata. But Sita Mata was unaffected and it had not caused any danger to her. He reassures her and then he goes back crossing the ocean. He goes back to Sri Ramachandra and conveys the happy news to Sri Ramachandra that Društva Sita, on two words, he tells the entire story, not a big story. Društva Sita. Then Rama was waiting for the two words. And Rama, when he knows that word, and also Sita had given him his Chudamani, Rama's Chudamani and the Kakasura story also, so that he can go back and convince Ramachandra about his having Sita. And then Chudamani is given to him, and Ramachandra embraces Hanuman and says, you are equal to my brother and even greater to my brother. And he gives him what is called Alingana Sparsha Saukya, which is one of the greatest gifts God can give to anybody whom he blesses. With this, we'll stop at this for today's session and we'll continue the remaining part of the Yuddhakanda, because Sundarakanda continues over Yuddhakanda, Hanuman's exploits, Hanuman's service to Lakshmana of the Sanjeevana, all these things we will cover up in the next session and take up another topic also. Sai Ram, and our next speaker, I think for today, Mr. Shankaran must be waiting. So passing on to Shankaran. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, sir. It is very difficult to put in a nutshell the Sundarakandam, which you have done excellently, exceedingly well. We are blessed to hear Sundarakandam today. Thank you so much, sir. Sai Ram. Sa Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satya Devaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Sa Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satya Devaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Sa Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satya Devaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, Sai Sparshan brothers and sisters. Greetings to you all for our nation's Independence Day and also for the 15th anniversary day of Sai Sparshan. And I, on behalf of me as well as all of you, our gratitude to Swami and also to the founders and patron devotees who had established Sai Sparshan and also worked for the various Sai spiritual activities since its inception. I have titled this satsang topic as Swami and his miracles, an experience. I will make it clear that the experiences I share is solely for the purpose of bringing out to all of us how Swami is omnipresent and also near to us throughout every happening in our life, giving us the moral courage and support to face any situation. We should feel blessed by him. In my last satsang presentation, I just touched upon as to how through the melodious and divine, serene Sai bhajans and the other activities, I was attracted to Swami's mission. At an early age, when I was in my high school, in my native place. I will not call it as native place. We are settled in a place called Ramanathapuram, and which I continue to enjoy wherever I go till today. After completing my graduation in Madurai in 1972, there was a change of place to Delhi, where I continued my post-graduation in chemistry, but the plan was not to go and study there. I had shifted to Delhi with the support of my brother to look for a job, and then it has been possibly Swami's wish that I should continue to do my post-graduation. I joined there. And during these college student days, I used to attend the Sai Bhajan in one Mr. Varadarajan's place. It was in Lakshmi Bai Nagar, and later they had shifted to the Safdarjung enclave. This 1972 to 76 period, I used to attend bhajans in their house on Thursdays, and also whenever possible, we used to go and help on Sundays when there is a Narayan Seva. And as you know, it's customary in any Tamil Brahmin family to call the elderly lady as Mami. So Mrs. Varadarajan, we used to call her a Mami. And she used to receive Swami's total anugraha and be the divine and miracle-centric devotee of Swami. She was also conducting Bal Vikas classes for children. In fact, on Thursdays, the bhajan will be in the hall of the house, since the puja room is comparatively smaller and it cannot accommodate more than 10 to 12 people. And during the bhajan, both the hall and the puja room will be full with at least some 50 to 60 devotees. And the Thursday bhajans used to be a bliss for us because Swami blesses vibhuti on the photos, idols, and the chair during the bhajan, and sometimes even cashew nuts, sugar, and other things too, if my remembrances are okay. Needless to say, the bhajans take new heights with enthusiasm and devotion. Soon it became an almost every bhajan event that Swami would have put his fingers in the prasadam prepared by Mami, kept as Naivedyam. And he would have used the handkerchief kept on the chair to wipe clean his hands. The finger marks of the Naivedyam remains will be found on the kerchief which was kept on the chair, showing that Swami has wiped his hands. This all happened during the bhajan. Only at the end of the bhajan, you come to know. It was a divine feeling to experience. People used to clog in the front of the where the idols are kept after Vibhuti Mandram to see whether Swami has left any marks on the prasadam. For that matter, even Swami was so fond of pan, and she used to keep a pan also in a closed container, and even many times he had tasted that also. So such an atmosphere really gives you a sort of feel of blessed by Swami. And many a time during the bhajan on Thursdays, Mami used to faint in many occasions. And in between, she will faint and wake up later before the end bhajan. She used to mention that Swami talks to her about many things later. I normally stay for about 20 minutes or more to help them to wind up after the bhajan. And on an eventful Thursday, one of the bhajans, when almost all had dispersed, she was explaining that Swami told her during the bhajan. In fact, during the bhajan, a lot of vibhuti and all had materialized. And she was telling, when she fainted, Swami told her that he has materialized 3 tiny precious stones, jewelry stones, and she can find that in the heap of vibhuti, which Swami had materialized on the central idol of, I think, Shirdi Baba. Swami also mentioned that it was for the Raksha of Mr. Varadarajan and advised to make a ring and wear in the finger. I still remember that scene when she was digging into the heap of vibhuti, gently with her 2 fingers. Yes, the stones were there inside there, buried deep. Later, I understood that they had made a ring for Mr. Varadarajan and he started wearing it regularly. So, see, these are all things which really makes you feel blessed. Not only that, you derive a moral support from Swami when you feel that he is around you. On another occasion, I attended Nagar Sankirtan in their house, and on a fine morning, naturally, the Nagar Sankirtan, one of the Sunday morning, I feel. By the time we came back from Nagar Sankirtan, and normally she locks the door and we go out for the Nagar Sankirtan, come back. When she opened the entrance door and walked in, we saw a lot of black pepper and some cashews had been smeared by Swami in the entire hall. You just take your foot, you feel that you are feeling the pepper down. Then immediately all of us started collecting them, and Mommy collected all of them. And on the next occasion, she prepared rice pongal using them and offered as prasadam to Swami. So these are all blissful experiences. And on a few Sundays, I also used to join the Sai group in their house to go for places like Cheshire Home or Ashram to distribute food for the inmates who are deserted mentally or unwell due to various reasons. Mommy used to talk to those people very taking utmost care and giving them the solace. On one such Sunday, she was preparing the puri prasadam in the kitchen. I had also gone, and we were shifting those containers with the prasadam to the puja room. Actually, her house, you enter immediately on your left side, you will have the puja room. That's a small puja room. And you are entering the hall, it's a very big hall. Then after going straight, you have to go to the kitchen. So we were shifting the prasadam from the kitchen to the puja room. And that particular day, in no time, when we had come out of puja room and were bringing the next lot of prasadam, Swami had already tasted the puri and also smeared the pieces in the puja room here and there and had marked his presence there. It was a thrilling experience to be there at that time, to see Swami's miracles. That actually during that period of stay in Delhi as a student, I had all these new Hindi bhajans I started learning, because till then the places like Madurai and Ramanathapuram, these more of Tamil bhajans and other regional bhajans like Telugu bhajans. And there was a time a lot of Hindi bhajans used to come. I still remember some of those bhajans. I can just mention. One is Madhura Madhura Murali Ghanashyama. Then Avo Avo Swami Hridaya Mandir Me Aavo Swami. The third one, Jaya Ayodhya Vasi Ram 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 Dasharatha Nandana Ram. Another beautiful bhajan. Jaya Jaya Raghunandana Jaya Janaki Jeevana. One more. Tu hai Anath Bandho Karuna Sindhu He Sai Bhagavan. So these are all wonderful bhajans which I learned. In fact, after learning from there, when I go to my native place, my father used to take my diary, and he was so attracted to the bhajans, Sai bhajans. He used to learn all of them, and he used to sing all these bhajans, taking from my diary. Every week, some new singers used to come to the bhajan in Delhi. I rendered new bhajans so that others can learn. The experience was again so blissful. Yet another Thursday, after the bhajan was over, when Mommy was in the kitchen, in fact, after the bhajan was over, we did the final winding up, and then I was there for about 15-20 minutes. And she was in the kitchen, and I was bidding bye to them and was about to leave. Normally, I go to the puja room by the time I want to leave, which was near to the main entrance, and do a namaskar to Swami and then leave. That day too, I went to prostrate before Swami's photo. When I went inside, I could just notice in the big photo of Baba, there were 3 spots from which honey had started dripping down. And in the sticky honey spots, 3 very tiny paper packets were stuck. I was really I was taken aback. What is this Swami has kept here? On seeing this, I went inside and told mommy about what I observed. She immediately came and saw those packets, and with their glittering eyes, she started telling Swami, when he was talking to her during the bhajan, seems to have told her that immediately coming next Tuesday, she need not go out for Balvika's class, because she takes Balvika's classes, and asked her to relax at home, as she is likely to get sort of some uncomfortable chest pain, and he will give her medicine. Indeed, those 3 packets were having some powder as a medicine, which later mommy said she used it, as Swami said, and when he had the anticipated problem. So she was such a blessed lady, and to be so in association with their bhajans and other activities, I derive a lot of pleasure. Whenever anybody came to mommy with some grave medical or personal problems, she used to pray and get Baba's vibhuti materials in her hand, sometimes even honey, and used to give them. So all these things, as a student, when I was in Delhi, I had experienced. Soon, of course, I completed my post-graduation, and I did my MSc in chemistry from the Delhi University. Then I started hunting for jobs. As you know, the job hunting is right from those days to till today. It's a big job, and you have to have the right, you are in the right place at the right time to get the right job. And finishing MSc, in fact, during my post-graduation itself, during summer holidays, 2 months, I used to work for the Bank of India. They used to give some sort of students, they take students for some work. I worked. So then afterwards, after my degree, I was trying to apply for many jobs. And one day it so happened, the persons, Mr. Mehra, who was staying in the upstairs of Mr. Varadarajan's house, he said, okay, you just come with your certificates one day. I will try to put you to somebody so that they can try to find out your chances. So that immediate next Sunday only he'll be available at home. So it's Sunday I went, I had taken my certificates also. I went to his place. Before going to his place, I just entered Mr. Varadarajan's house. I just went and prayed to Swami. I just entered, and the hall itself, I put all my certificates on the sofa, went to the puja room, and mommy was inside, and I was just talking to her. Another 5-10 minutes, I came back. Amazingly, on my certificates, Swami has showered vibhuti and kumkum, which I never expected, and it was a thrilling moment for me. So I was telling her, then she said, you don't have to bother about your career at all. Like that, she used to bless me. Then she said, okay, you now go and see Mr. Mehra. Mr. Mehra, of course, directed me to one of his friends. Maybe a temporary job of about 3 to 4 months. I was working for his company. And then I was applying for jobs commensurating with my qualifications. And you know, one of the things through my friend, I came to know that some vacancies for the newsreader in All India Radio as a casual artist, not as a casual artist. Every 15 days, there will be a break and you have to work. In fact, I was lucky enough to get through because they do voice test as well as some English to Tamil translation test. So they recruited me, but every 15 days there will be a break. And I worked with people who, those days, All India Radio News was the only, that is what I'm talking about is in 74, 75. In fact, I remember to have read the emergency declaration by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Fine, that's a side story. Now, I worked for, and again, within next 2 months, I was also selected for a research assistant post in the Sri Ram Institute. It so happened, my All India Radio colleague, newsreaders, Mr. Venkataraman, Saroj Narayan, all those people, they said they will adjust. So during daytime, I used to work for my research career, and then morning and evening, I used to come for the news reading and that work. It went like this for about a year or so. Till 1976, I got a job in Oil and Natural Gas Commission. I shifted to Jammu and Kashmir, Srinagar. I'll tell you in all these places, as I said, if you go to Srinagar, it just took a couple of days to find out people who are Sai devotees there. Once you get them, that's I think you are at home. And quite some Air Force people, some of the Air Force South Indians as well as a few of the Maharashtrians, they had a very small group. We had bhajans there also. I can't forget those days. Of course, Jammu and Kashmir was not a terrorist place. I enjoyed that stay of about 5-6 months. But nevertheless, I always used to feel that I wanted to go for a job where I can further my qualification. And he used to pray Swami whenever I pray him. This is one of the things. But it so happened after next 2-3 months, I had appeared for an interview in the UPSC. I got a job which was for DRDO. So utilizing that opportunity in 1976 November, I came and joined a DRDO job in Gwalior. And I had a very nice atmosphere, research atmosphere. And in Gwalior too, we had a very nice group. The Accountant General Office people had a quarters, and a lot of the Swami's activities we used to go for there. And I thoroughly enjoyed. And the next, actually, though 4 years I have spent there, I had to leave Gwalior and go to Kanpur, because for my higher for the higher post when I had appeared, I got selected, because in the lower post in which I was there, that was getting abolished. They said that we have to appear for the open examination. But leaving Gwalior was not to my liking. So when I had been to COP, I will take a couple of minutes because maybe I can finish up a certain stage. I'll take a couple of minutes. Vinod, is it okay? 7:42, 43. Vinod, okay?
Yes, Sairam.
So I had to go to Kanpur. Why I'm saying this particular piece I want to mention is the moment I shifted to Kanpur, somehow or other, I did not get into the proper, I should say that I could not settle there due to various reasons. My mind was always having some problem or other. Maybe from the professional angle, which I could not enjoy the professional atmosphere also, as well as the city atmosphere, that I thought I have come to a place, possibly I can go back in the lower post back to Gwalior. But Swami is there, so I thought it is only Swami only can help. I started writing Likita Nama Japa of Swami. The 7th day after started writing, I got a, in fact, I got posted to Kanpur based on an interview, and now I wanted to go back. But anyway, Swami, after writing the Likita Nama Japa, Swami, on the 7th day, I got another letter from UPSC saying that you have been selected for that particular post in which I am already there, and your place of posting will be intimated to you soon. Then when I scratched my head and found out, in fact, I had appeared for 2 interviews. One of the interviews I got posted in Kanpur. The other interview, maybe somebody else has got selected. That fellow having not joined, I was kept in waiting. That opportunity had come to me. In fact, taking that particular opportunity, I thought I should utilize this either to go back to Gwalior or try to find out where I can possibly fit into to my liking. When I say my liking, I'm not asking for a boon. There are certain things which were not compatible to me in the place where I got posted. So Swami came. I don't know how Swami had helped me. I took that letter and went to my headquarters to the DRDO to meet our director of personnel, DOP. And I just went and gave the letter to his PA. He was kind enough to say, okay, I will tell him that you can meet him. I went inside. There was one Mr. Agarwal who spoke to me very nicely. I told him my problems. In fact, I was not doing well also in health-wise also at that time in Kanpur. He patiently heard me, and then he said 2 things. He called his admin officer and asked him, where is this posting? That man said, sir, this posting is actually for Hyderabad. But we have in Bangalore also a post for the chemistry. And I myself don't know. From Madurai, Bangalore is overnight journey, because he asked me all the details. Where is my native place? Where did I do my studies? Where are my parents and things like that? He started telling, see, Hyderabad is farther from Madurai, and from Bangalore, Madurai is overnight distance. I will see to you that I will post you there, he said. All these things he said, and he removed the file. Below the file, on his table, Swami's big photo was there. He seems to be a devotee of Swami. I could just sense how Swami subtly helped people or his devotees So these are all some of the examples I thought I will share with you. Of course, from Kanpur, I came in 1981 to Bangalore. And the first thing what I did was to go to Vrindavan and had the darshan of Swami. In fact, I should tell you, I had the first darshan of Swami only in Delhi, 1975, 73, I think. And then my last darshan also was in Delhi only. That is, I went back to Delhi as a corporate director in the year 2007, and till 2012 I was there. 2010 Swami came there. 2011 he of course passed away, and I could have the darshan, both the first darshan as well as the last darshan only in Delhi. When I recollect all these things, it comes to my mind. Otherwise, I had never connected this. But giving a talk on this satsang, when I started thinking about it, there is something which Swami's influence the entire career I had. So I thought this few instances of Swami's grace, I will share with you. Of course, the Bangalore life is different. We had a very nice time in C.V. Raman Nagar. That's a different thing. So with this, the brief, I think it is brief. I would like to thank all of you for listening to me, and also giving Vinod and company to give an opportunity to talk to you all on this Sai Sparshan anniversary day. Thank you all. Sai Ram. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram uncle.
Ram Sai Ram.